welcome back to my Enterprise Security video playlist. I hope you've recognized that this is a playlist. Please look down below to see the link to the entire playlist. The concept is I'm covering the main features of Enterprise Security. This video will be focusing on ticket triage. The video before was how we made correlation searches, and the future video will be covering the topics down below, risk-based approach, etc. So let's move into ticket triage. This is going to be probably one of the areas I can cover the least because it can be done so many different ways. You've got to figure out what works best for your business and your process. But I'm going to jump over to Splunk, and if I go into the Splunk documentation on enterprise security, they actually put a section in here called incident review workflow. And I'm going to follow their workflow, and it may or may not fit your environment. Let's see if I can blow that up just a little bit. The concept here is an administrative analysis monitors the incident review dashboard, sorting and performing high-level triage on newly created notable events. So basically, let's go through that. And that's how I'm going to basically do it. I'm going to use this little workflow here as if this is how my company, my group does incident review. We're going to come into Splunk, Enterprise Security. Let's just actually take us right to it as if you don't know where Incident Review is. We go into Enterprise Security, the app, click on the second link when it loads, which is Incident Review. This is where all the correlation searches that we have set up to create notables are putting their alerts. Now, in my situation, they're going to be all very repetitive, but this is kind of the principle. You're going to start up an alert. Best practice says put that new correlation search. We're going to come back. We're going to keep looking at my little content management. If I come into content management, I'll go to configure content management. I'm going to look at mine, which is this YouTube correlation search. If I click it, we're going to see where a lot of these things come in. General rule, I didn't follow the best practice. If you've got a live environment, and I don't, this is not live, I don't have analysts looking at it, you would typically want to set your risk level, and its risk level is set down in the adaptive response actions. I expand this notable. I put a risk of low. Best practice says put it as unknown or informational. I like unknown best. You can use informational so that if people see these alerts, they don't, oh, what do I need to do with them? But the concept is, all right, so I got my alerts coming in. What does incident review come back? Oh, I've got some alerts coming in, and I can take a real quick look. What does it again say here? I'm the administrative analyst. They monitor the incident review and perform high-level triage on notable events. So we can come in here and let's see what we can do. We look at these just off the top of the line. We got a YouTube notable. It's a network-based low. Have I seen this before? Have I not? That's something I should be thinking about. If I haven't seen it before, I might open this up and I'm going to look at it and I'm going to see, all right, there's an alert for this IP address, which, sorry, I'm going to have to keep jumping back and forth. Because of this being a video series, I want to show, how does it say that it's a YouTube notable? Well, we go back to my correlation search. Notable, YouTube notable. That's how it got that name. All right, next field, alert for 192.168.0.128. If I come back here, alert for source IP. It basically grabbed the source and it threw it in there. Now, one of the things you'll notice is there is no, there's the source IP address right there. 192.168.0.128. That's how it threw it in there. All right, then we look at these other fields, and these are the fields that came back from my query. Well, what fields were those? Well, the easiest way to do that is go to the correlation search. I can look that up, and it's not that search, sorry. It's right up here where you made it. Correlate is this. Now, I don't have a table, but if I'd done a table and you see all the values, you would pretty much see that these that these match up here, but not all of them are here. And I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about how you can customize this. This will be an extra video for how you customize these fields. Otherwise, this video is going to get really, really long. But it's going to see, are these fields here? And if they match, it's going to give you an additional field and a value. Actually, in this situation, let's show where that comes from. So if I duplicate this tab, I'm going to show the customization here. configure, incident management, incident review settings. Might need to buff this server up and give it a little bit more CPU and RAM. All right. We got notable events. Here we can require comments. I'm going to come back to this. This is interesting. Incident review. We want auto refresh. Incident review table attributes. And then you have incident review event attributes. What are the difference? These fields here create columns. And so you're going to see risk title, risk object, risk score. If I come back to my incident review, risk object, risk, there should be risk title. I think it's, I'm not sure. Risk score, risk events. We just need to look at the way it's, sorry, jump to the right one. So we're looking at title, risk object, risk score, risk events. I should be able to find all four of those. Title, risk object, risk score, risk events. I'm guessing the very next one is type. Yep, see, they're even sorting it there. There's your time, disposition, security domain. I come back here, title, time, disposition, security domain, urgency. So if you want to change these rows up here, these little column headers, you're going to come into incident review, and under the table attributes, you can add a column. I'm going to put a column here. It's not going to make any sense because there won't be anything there. There's no value there. Actually, let's do this. This should work. Source IP. And if I write that, I'm going to call it source IP. And we're going to hit save. If I refresh this incident, so we'll refresh this page, I should get a new column up here. There's my source IP, and hopefully it populates. Oh, look, there's my sources. Boom. And then I can do some source, I can do some filtering on them, etc. Sort them. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm going to get rid of them. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. But before we save, now the event attributes, these are the fields you can work with. There are lots of pages of them. What you might find is your field doesn't match quite what you want. Most of these are CIM terms, the common information model, so they're going to grab a lot of those CIMs. But if you're bringing in data that doesn't match the CIM, it's probably not going to be in here. And you notice I had that source IP. So let's go ahead and put source IP. That's why it's calling it source IP address. If you remember how this was written, and I go into my YouTube notable, it took this, I have this source IP, there's destination port, transport, where are you? Destination IP address, I know you're here. If it was a snake, it'd bite me. Interesting, okay. Can't, but let's just go this dest IP. That's why it's calling it this instead of dest IP is that whole label. I wonder if because I threw the field up here, if it removed it from here, because it was there just a minute ago. And that's actually something I didn't know. If it's here, it won't show up down in the field event attributes. That's kind of actually a cool little feature. Anyway, so you can see that you can edit it, change it. I could change it back to source IP, whatever. I'm gonna leave it as so. And that's how you change the fields. You come along and you quickly look at this and you can go, all right, 192, my source IP went out to 8.8.8.8. What was the alert? Why was this thing fired? That's what you're going to think. Remember, I'm now back in the role of the administrative analyst. They're quickly just looking through these. But if I want to get some information on this, I might look here and say, oh, look, over here, correlation search. Every analytic, every notable will come back with a correlation search. You click this, it'll actually bring up the very same thing I have over here on this edit. And it's going to bring me back the information about the correlation search. And I'm going to be able to see what it was that created it. And there I can see my little query, etc. So if I want to know why this was generated, I can just click to get more information about that. Here's the original event. Here's all the raw data. So I can see this is what the package looked like. Here's my history. Oh, look, it was just sending data. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I bet it was a TC. If I saw a TCP connection to 8.8.8, I might be a little concerned, but it's a UDP. So I'm just trying to, I'm going to come along and I'm going to say, you know what? We need to adjust this rule. We need to close it. We need to put it through SOAR, etc. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this event, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to edit the selected. You know what? Before I do that, let's look at the other pieces of data that are available to me. I'm not going to. I have this drill down. See what caused alert. If I click that, it's going to take me to a search screen, and I'm going to see this event, and it pops up a lot. It built this index equals corelight, source type corelight con, and there's the source IP, and here's all those events. Where did that get generated from? If I go into my correlation search and I come down to my notables, those who watched the previous video, you'll remember I built 2 drill down searches. What I cause it? See what caused alert. If I go to instant review, see what caused alert. What does it send in as the query? Corelight source IP 192.168. I probably could cheat this. This would make more sense. Hindsight's 2020. I should have probably done something like this. This will still work. If I hit save, it's going to now modify that query. And so now it's going to push in the variable when I send it out. Don't worry about it. Why does this drill down exist? If we come down, we got the next one. Why does this drill down exist? And if I click it, this time I did send the source IP in, and I'm going to use head 1. Let's go and see what happens. When I click this, if it does what it's supposed to, it's going to go grab the internal logs related to that source IP. And what do you know? There I am. There's my internal logs. So I can get some extra data related to my incident when I bake in stuff into my correlation search. That makes things really, really easy. Now I'm going to point this out. This is a caveat. These here are, as far as I can tell, are only searches. You cannot point to a drill down. And so you've got to do everything in the search language. That's not completely limiting. I personally, if I had my choice and I was in charge of designing this, I would allow this to point to a dashboard. I do not know why Splunk doesn't have this pointing to a dashboard, and maybe it does. I'm going to hit up the Splunk team and try to figure out exactly how to overcome this, but both of these are searches. I would really like it if they pointed to a drill down where I could have a drill down to do stuff. But not all is lost. If you're familiar with workflow actions, I can actually come to this action, and I'm going to come here, destination IP address. And I can actually, if I click this edit tags, I can see it's going to point me to pre-built dashboards that so I can do pre-built dashboards to see where this stuff goes to. Sorry, it's going to point me to a dashboard. I wanted a dashboard here, but under actions, you can put dashboards, and you can make a new workflow action, tie it to this source type and this field in a source type, and it will work. But let's go ahead and see that. So for example, if I hit access search, this is probably not going to give me everything I need, but if I go ahead and click it, let's go ahead and click that and close this search here. We don't need that. Accidentally clicked it twice. It's going to bring up a pre-built enterprise security dashboard called Access Search. It's going to put in the IP address and fill out data if it had it. But the problem is this access, if you look at the way the query works, it's going to be using the data model. I'm pretty sure it's going to be using authentication data model. I have no authentication logs coming in, and so unfortunately, out of the box, that doesn't take me to where I need. This isn't going to fill out. But if I had put my data model of authentication and I had something related to 8.8.8.8, it would work. Now realize I clicked the one that said the destination is 8.8. If I go to instant review, I can also change that to set a destination, or it could be the source. Same exact dashboard, but it switches the piece so that instead of being in destination, it's now in source. So this is what we've done in my group. We actually built one gigantic dashboard that gives a whole bunch of pivots and links and buttons and everywhere, and we call it our IP drill down. And when it's related to an IP, we push it to that page, and from there you can do pivots and get all the information. Because in many cases, dashboards are easier for onboarding new analysts to help understand the situation. It's nice to be able to know the search language, but often you're looking for the exact same thing and you want to follow a process. So we've actually changed our actions to have one action, and it points to a single dashboard that actually handles it. But it would sure be nice if it was sitting here in the drill down searches. It is what it is. But anyway, notice source is now over here, destination's not over there. I really think this query is written weird, that it should probably be a star there. I wonder if it fills out automatically with a star, and I could check that out really easy. Actually, no. So if you look at this query, it may or may not. If it doesn't account for that, those sources are coming back blank. So I don't know if that's a problem. That's not my job. I'm not here to fix their stuff. And we're not here to go in. I'm going to come back on how to fix all those dashboards. There are a lot of really cool dashboards in Splunk, but I just want you to know that you can come through and you can go to settings, go to fields. Let's go to a page that doesn't matter if I lose my settings, fields, and I will do a page on workflow actions. I think workflow actions are awesome. So I'll give that as an extra video. Look down below, follow the link, or I'll put it in this video list. Workflow actions. Here are all the current workflow actions, and I can add a new workflow action. This is what we did in my group. We actually pointed it to a completely new IP address right here and passed in the values and set it off. And then we have a dashboard to rule them all. Nice giant. If you've seen my L.A.M.E creations, my L.A.M.E training dashboard, I have a single pane of glass that lets you pivot and get a whole bunch of information. It's a similar concept. Anyway, that being said, I've now got the ability to add stuff to this dashboard, but hopefully I have enough stuff right here to make a cursory opinion. I'm going to come along here and I'm going to go, I clicked, notice this little box. If you want to click everything, you click up here and it will give it a check mark. Check mark means all the notables on this page and others, so it's going to apply it to all 138 notables, which you might want to do if you choose the right filters up here. I'm going to cover filters in a second. They're not really hard. You just choose, they'll change the stuff you're working with. But if I click one single box, you'll now get a square with a dot inside indicating I've selected some things, but not everything. And interestingly enough, you can see edit all matching events. That's not working right. I've only selected one, not 138 events. Whatever. Again, not my problem. If I hit edit selected, I guess it's going to say that they're close enough that it's going to match them all. That's weird. Anyway, edit selected. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, based off some information I found, maybe you choose to resolve a ticket or closed. In my situation, if you have a second set of eyes, you might move it to resolve. Then you have someone who comes along on the resolve and they're going to validate what you did. Or you can just flat out close. I'm going to do resolved, kind of on the assumption that you have two eyes looking at it. We can change the urgency. I'm going to leave it as low. I'm going to assign this to myself. And disposition, this is really cool. I can come along and I can say this was a true positive. There was some suspicious activity. This was a benign positive, suspicious, but it's expected. Is that what we would think with this machine going out to 8.8.8.8? No, so it's not benign positive. False positive, incorrect analytic logic. I would say that's the case. The analytic needs to be improved. It's going to throw a lot of false positives if we don't fix it. So this is a quick way to make a note, because you can get data down the road, and I'll show that in another video, of all the analytics that are false positives, false negatives, etc. And so you can give it feedback immediately to your administration team to these analytics need fixed. And what I'm going to write here is, it is perfectly acceptable to go to 8.8.8.8 from this machine. It is just a UDP data transaction, which is totally normal. Something like that. And I'm going to hit Save Changes. And it's going to update my triage system. Definitely before the next video, I'm turning up my CPU on my VM. Okay, notables updated. And since, let's make sure we hit the save over here on this incident review. I want that source IP to go away. Hit save. Okay, that's gone. So now if I come back to incident review, I want this source IP to go away. It was good for demo purposes. It's not really what I want in my triage. I'd prefer to see the source IP in my fields. But each person has their own. It's a nice feature. Use it where it makes sense. All right, so we can see that I got an undetermined. Oh, look, there's the one I've been working on. Resolved, owned by administrator. So this is a really good example of let's play around with this. I can go to the urgency and grab anything that is medium. Click the little checkbox, maybe. And you'll notice it's building a little filter down here. I want the status to be resolved. So this might be your person who comes through and doubles up and checks things. And I want it to be done. And maybe I only review, and clearly it wouldn't be the administrator, but whoever this person is, this guy named administrator, I just review theirs. And when I hit submit, it's going to bring me back just the tickets that are urgency medium, resolved, and owned by administrator. None were found. Why? Because the ticket I solved was low. So I'm just going to hit that little X, hit submit, and now I'll get back my one ticket. So I can create my own filter right here. There it is. I just want to show. I can also save this new filter, and I'm going to put it as YouTube approver, resolved tickets. And I'm going to set that as my, I don't want to set it as my default. I can hit save. And now I have my own. I'm going to go close all these out. Close. And if I hit submit, it's going to reopen all my tickets. But I can come back here and I can go flip this filter. Let's go to home for a moment and then flip it back to YouTube resolve tickets. YouTube resolve tickets. And it rebuilt all my filters. Hit submit and I go back. So this is a really cool way, and these can be controlled at these are pretty much controlled at the user level. I can make it ones that go globally for everyone, but if you build one, your users can go build what's useful for them and just apply their own filter. Kind of nice. So I can come along, let's go look at this alert. And I can come in, I can look, let's see some new things. I added those comments. If you notice, I have here, it is perfectly acceptable to have this address. It was added at this time. What if somebody added more events? Another thing I find to be a little bit, a little odd is the only history it shows is the comments that someone writes. So I'm going to do another. I'm going to, just to show that, I'm going to hit edit selected. We're going to move this from urgency low to urgency medium. And I'm going to leave this as left generic comment. So I made a change to the urgency and to the comment field. I hit save changes. It'll change here. Urgency was low. When this ticket comes back, it'll be flipped to moderate. To medium, sorry. But if I go look at my comments, I can go I can search through these. That is really actually kind of cool. It's perfect, acceptable to go there. It says it was done by the administrator. I hit the next, generic comment. No place did it say I changed the urgency. Now it is there if I go view all activity for this notable event. The data that's actually stored there for every time I make a comment, we can see that with this little query. It says at this time, the reviewer, had it set as low, resolved, admin, there's their comment. Then next, admin, medium, resolved, admin, generic comment. But the fact that it was changed to medium is not readily apparent. Again, that's a personal comment on mine. I don't know why that's the case. Is it a deal breaker? It's definitely not a deal breaker, but it is a very interesting concept. So just want to throw that out there. One last thing I can do here, I'm going to do a notable. If I want to see the query that put this in as a notable, there's my long query, and there's all the data that comes back from it. It's kind of useful. Take it for what it's worth. Anyway, I just wanted to show that that's available. Okay, this video has gone on long enough. I have just briefly covered what an administrator might come along and do. When a notable event warrants investigation, the administrator assigns the event to a reviewing analyst to start investigation of an incident. So like what I did here, I could actually come up here. Well, we're going to take off resolved, hit submit. We probably want to take administrator off too. And we're going to grab a ticket that we think is useful. I'm that high-level analyst. I'm going to come along here. I'm going to click this. And I'm going to assign it to someone else. Edit selected. And I can go give it to someone, not me. Hopefully you'd have a whole list. Every person you add to Enterprise Security will show up on this list. You can assign them to it. They're going to have a specific role. It doesn't just happen to anyone. Enterprise Security has roles, just like Splunk has user, power user, and administrator. Splunk Search has, Enterprise Security has analysts and things like that. They need to be assigned the analyst role. I'll cover that. I can cover that in a video. But anyway, they can be assigned. So that covers that little piece there. The reviewing analyst, this is now the new analyst here, updates the status of new to in progress and begins investigating the cause of the notable event. So once they're assigned, they might come in, they see that it's assigned to them, they're going to come in that day and say, give me all the tickets that are assigned to myself. They'll get it back. They'll now open this up, edit selected, and say, oops, sorry, they're going to go to status in progress. They'll save that event, etc. We come along, so that does it. The reviewing analyst researches and collects information on the event using the fields and field actions in the notable event. The analyst records the details of their research in the comments field of the notable event. Just like I did up here with the administrator, I kind of merged these two together. You got to draw out your lines. How much does an analyst actually spend time looking, this administrative analyst versus the reviewing analyst spend their time looking at these? But they might, as part of the review, the analysts might run adaptive responses. We'll cover adaptive responses when we go to risk-based approach. Or I might do it in the next video on investigations. Then after reviewing the reviewing analysts address the cause of the notable event and any remediation tasks have been escalated or solved, the analyst sets the notable event status to resolved. Then the analyst assigns the notable events to a final analyst for verification. There is the situation where it becomes an investigation. It becomes far more than just a simple event. And we are going to discuss that, but that comes down to this creating an investigation. We're going to cover that in my next video. Hopefully you have an interest in seeing that. Again, look down below. This is a video playlist. I'm posting the video playlist below. These are all sequential to give you teaching on how to run enterprise security. I'm doing this because I've never seen very much comprehensive videos out there for enterprise security. So I want to contribute to the knowledge of the body of knowledge out there. Everything I've seen, it's all behind a paywall. I'm not putting this stuff behind a paywall. I think everyone needs to have it because it is frustrating as no other to try to figure this out yourself. I spent countless hours building what I've got here, and if I'd known the little tricks, it would have saved me countless time. So anyway, this is incident review. You've got to build a process, but it will support a lot of things. Not everything is exactly how I would build it, but it makes sense. It's good. I like it, and it's a great tool. Anyway, if you got questions or comments, comment down below. Join my Discord channel, post them there. I'd love to hear from you guys. I'm not charging for this information. You're pretty much going to have to charge. You're going to have to pay for a pro service or someone else as a general rule to get enterprise security help, unless you've got some wealth of information I'm not aware of. Anyway, I hope this helps you move from being a lame analyst to a Splunk ninja. And that you keep following these videos, follow the playlist down below. I put a lot of time into it. I hope it's helpful for you. Anyway, hope to see you back.